All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the SBL. AJS0 joined here with Renai Circulation, aka Blabuer, and Failed Destiny to bring you game 2 of the night between TD2 and Danked by Mom.
How's it going?
And we're going to jump right into this. So, quick update. There were some issues for T-Dank2 today. Salvo's computer fried, and they were unable to get a hold of their sub. So they are going to be, unfortunately for them, running an emergency sub. Cuddles in at the bottom of this champ select. So we will see what they do, maybe to shuffle their roster around. But this is a really big game for these two teams. Both sitting at 1 and 2. And a win here gave them a chance to really help secure a higher seed.
And really quickly, we're seeing the ban for Morgana for Quoth. He plays that a lot. It's pretty well feared by most supports and AD carries because it protects the AD carry while also giving them a chance to really get some kill potential.
Yeah, and that's one of those champs that not a whole lot of people in the SBL play anymore. And there are a lot of players in this league that do not like playing against Morgana. Not super surprised to see that off the table.
And then the Gnar for, I'm assuming, on the wind to keep him from going off, as a lot of the pro players have.
Yeah, he's been playing a lot of that Gnar in his practice games. One of those strong meta top laners that you can kind of blind pick whenever you want. And last ban going to be a Vi, which is kind of turning into a recurring target ban against 30, who is really being dared to show a bigger jungle champion pool, which he hasn't really been able to do so far this season in terms of having successful games on the champions he plays.
So yeah, it looks like he's been practicing a bit of other things in normals and ranked, but in the SBL it just hasn't translated to much. And there's the bundle probably to deny 30, because that's basically all that's in his match history.
That's a champion I had the chance to talk to him and On the Wind about after last week. It's not something that you're going to be seeing at Worlds, but it is turning into a pretty popular high elo solo queue pick, which is not always something that you expect to see 30 picking, but it's something he's felt really good about, despite having a pretty bad game last week, which, you know, at this point in the season, you can kind of just chalk up bad games to Mad Cow.
Well, and Trundle's really strong because his bite actually takes AD away from the person he hits. And then the ult steals so many stats away from someone tanky. It's just so much easier to kill them then. That it's a good mid-game or mid-fight reaction to take down a tank or damage on an AD carry.
Yeah, and it also opens a lot of opportunities to duel the opposing jungler with those stat steals, you know, whether it's your jungle or their own jungle. Yeah. And surprisingly for a champion without hard CC, his ganks are actually pretty good too. The pillar... There's a lot of ways you can creatively use the pillar when you're coming out of the jungle.
Yeah, the pillar as a gap stop, forcing people to actually remain where they are instead of running away. And then the movement speed from his Frozen Tundra is crazy high as you level that up.
There's actually a couple more picks that just happened that I want to talk about. Diverted you see left and right, but Lux, that's actually been banned against this team every week thus far, because if you look at Contagio's summoner profile, he's actually a bit of a Lux one trick when it comes down to it. And then, yeah, go ahead.
that is a huge pick to me. I've been waiting all season to see Contagio get this Lux, because Contagio has been kind of underwhelming for this team, and I'm curious to see if he can really show himself taking a step forward as a player once he gets that main champion of his.
So far though, we will see this team going very quickly with if they do lock in the Hecarim, the Nami, and the Sivir, that's all speed, all day, all the time. And Lux will just be poking from behind as hopefully they crush fights.
Guys, that Nami's going on to 30. 30's doing the swap again.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's how we fixed this last team that wasn't winning as much as it was supposed to. But we'll see in a sec here. But one thing I do want to comment on in the meantime, this is a weird draft. These are not a lot of champions we normally see in the SBL or in pro play.
Nami's pretty surprising.
Who needs metas when you have favorites?
Coming from the Vel'Koz main, who sometimes sees pro play.
like 2 games and then immediately got nerfed into dumpster tier. But besides that,
But from Coffee's team, TD2, they look very tanky so far, with Trundle, Swain, Pantheon, and then depending on what we see, if Trundle's actually a Blitzcrank support, also tanky.
Yeah, so Blitzcrank and Jinx coming out of TD2. Maybe they're planning to drop out and have Salvo ghost into this game on Cuddle's account.
Can you get banned for playing on a custom game? That's my question.
well, that
But-
Blitz pick makes me think maybe that's the reason they banned Morgana from the start.
Yes, that would
so they
make
could get the grab.
sense.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see. I didn't have a chance to really look at Cuddle's champions played, but looking at his rank stats, he seems to kind of be all over in terms of which roles he plays.
From what I saw in his recent match history, it looked like somewhat like a lot of mid, but you'd be right in saying that it wasn't perfectly consistent.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see TD2 do some flexing around of the roles. Sasquatch could potentially play AD carry. Cruz has even played AD carry in the past. He was a bit of a Jinx one trick that would surprise me, but we'll see
like
where all these things
Riskect.
get traded around.
Yeah, Sasquatch is actually playing the Jinx.
Say, if you're going off summoner spells, it looks like everyone's in the rightful place now.
Yeah.
It does
So-
Swain normally not take teleport mid lane? Does he normally take Ignite for kill potential?
It's going to be pretty matchup dependent.
Okay.
I believe Cruz has taken Ignite more than not this season. Don't quote me on that because I might be wrong. But there was a game once last season where Cruz ran a teleport mid lane and he got reamed for it. And I think he's just been scared to play teleport mid ever since, to be completely honest. And
are they actually switching? Coffee
now
has...
we're gonna
still has
panic
teleport.
countdown. This is so cheesy. Holy
Alright.
shit, they're actually doing it. Mr.
Okay.
Coffee
Blitz.
support.
Oh,
Oh,
He got the
exhaust.
exhaust. He got the exhaust. His team was probably shouting as we speak.
You knew he was trolling the stream.
And 30's playing support, so we've got some switches amongst this team, more than what we probably would have expected.
Actually, yeah, one thing to note about Danked by Mom is that they are running Simply Zach instead of Kindhosen this week. And that is something I know, at least I was talking about before the season, was that this team, maybe Kindhosen wouldn't get up to snuff right away. They would have ways they could line this roster up with Kindhosen as their bench player and still be competitive. So it looks like that's the route they're going, with Simply Zach stepping in for his first game of the season.
Do we actually know if Kindhuisen's out by choice this week, or if he just couldn't make it?
I am unsure, but
Okay.
given the way that the last few weeks have been going, I think, especially knowing how 30 tends to approach these things, I think
Yeah,
they
it
want to
wouldn't
just
surprise
try
me.
something different. And this would be a nice momentum building week. They're playing against a team missing Salvo, one of the best players on TD2. Obviously, that's kind of a three-pronged attack between him, Thermidor, and Sasquatch.
Well, and right
And
now,
it looks 30.
I was just going to say that both of these teams are 1-2, and with 2 games left of their regular season, they are pretty much fighting for the difference between second and maybe third or fourth place, which is huge if they can get into second, because right now it's up in the air for get it.
Yeah, these teams really still are in the running for second. If they can win out and JTLE drops the right games, they can still get a bye, or at least get the chance at third where they get to pick their opponent in the first round, which will probably be a big deal. I really like this decision to put 30 back to support. The shot calling has looked off for this team. It worked last season for 30 to just switch back to support, and the shot calling kind of put everything back into place. So we'll see if they can execute. And the one pick we didn't touch on yet, on the win picking up Echo with the last pick of the draft, kind of been his best go-to champ for really the past 4 months or so. There's just a lot of comfort on Dank by Mom.
Well, and then Thermidor's back on Pantheon, which I believe he played last season and was very impactful on for those post level 6 ganks, falling into lane and then getting a double kill or a kill and then a tower. So we might see that again. What do you guys expect these teams for general strategies for team fights? Are they?
Honestly, I don't like either of these team comps very much, but I like Dink by Mobs better. I honestly have no idea what TD2's win condition is besides to just outplay their opponents.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
and maybe
they-
get so tanky the damage doesn't matter.
But yeah, that's going to be their hope, is trying to shrug off the damage. But DBM's classic 30 saying, let's run a Sivir comp, so let's just go group and get them.
Yeah, and as we saw in the last game, sometimes the comps don't matter as long as one person goes off. So we'll see who's going to be Master Splinter for this one.
Good luck with that one. I think another small thing I want to add about that Pantheon pick as well. Yes, Thermidor has played it before. It might also partially be a denial pick. I was taking a look at all of the players' match histories before the game, and on the wins most frequently played in match history currently is actually Pantheon.
Oh. Surprising, because he actually hovered the Aurelia as well, which I think he's played quite a bit, and then back to the Echo, which is one of his true comforts.
But yeah, my notes here literally read Echo, comma, Aurelia, comma, Pantheon. And there's the order of preference and what he ended up going with.
And Quoth is the 80 carry. We've seen him on support, so that Morgana ban actually didn't hurt them at all.
Oh yeah, that didn't do anything then. Now they're wondering why they didn't take Lux out.
Maybe they just think they can handle it. I mean, they do have some good picks. The Blitzcrank can roam onto the mid lane. The Pantheon obviously going to be very successful ganking Lux. I'm really interested to see where Thermidor chooses to path early in this game. That to me is going to be the player to watch for the first, 15 minutes or so.
Oh yeah, I think both junglers, if either of them gets rolling, the other team's gonna have a really hard time trying to deal with it once they hit 6.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we expect any large discrepancies in CS or kills out of any of these lanes right now? Based on the matchup, Puddles is a wild card as a sub, but mid lane, I think it could go either way.
Oh, we could
actually
see
might have
a bit
fight.
of a catch here. On the Wind is going to be a Blitzcrank territory, and he immediately respect flashes out. And he's gonna watch a nice pillar out of Cuddles. And look out on the Wind. You can't flash anymore, and that's gonna be a first blood under a Sasquatch.
That was a really clutch pull out of Coffee. Like he almost got away with the pillar and then the pull coming out of this team. That was very coordinated. Those are hard under pressure.
Yeah, I really like that invade path out of TD2. Didn't get a chance to talk about it before, but everyone always expects a Blitzcrank to come invade the blue. And just every game there's a Blitzcrank, they always contest over one of two positions. And TD2 just went to the opposite side of the map. They assumed that 30's team wouldn't be ready for it, and they were right, and they get a huge first blood.
And it's on the perfect person on Jinx, nonetheless, and every single person got a support assist on that. That'll be a lot for that Jinx. He actually didn't buy anything off of it, maybe holding on to try and get an early DF sword.
Yeah, he's sitting on 400 gold. First one can be kind of awkward on AD carries, especially depending on what your build path is. So, unless you want to go for like a pink ward and extra pots, if Jinx in particular are going to be going for the Infinity Edge builds, I believe. So we'll see what they do. They do have an EXP lead in the bot lane, so they might be able to turn that into something which is especially relevant as a Blitzcrank lane.
Yeah, that pull knockup can be very punishing if it lands. It just has to land on the right person with that Sivir spell shield.
Well yeah, like if Nami gets hooked, she's 9 out of 10 times she's just dead or having to back.
And right now we're seeing pretty standard jungle starts from both. Hecarim starting bottom side as Pantheon is. Both heading just taking farm.
Yeah, the SBL isn't usually known for its early game ganks. They usually want to farm up a couple levels and then see if anyone's pushed, or otherwise they just go back to farming for a while more.
And we do see a little bit of a CS lead already in the top lane, a couple coming out of there. I wonder if Cuddles is just nervous about the first SBL game.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a factor for a lot of players. On first time playing a tournament level game, probably the first time on a stream, that it can get in a lot of people's heads. But we'll see what that ends up turning into. The last game showed us that sometimes those early CS discrepancies don't always matter.
It looks like this Nami's getting pretty good harass off bottom lane, and they're standing behind the minions pretty well to make sure that the Blitzcrank can't actually get a hook off anyone, and they're just trading CS at the moment.
Alright, both junglers coming towards this top lane. Thermidor going to flash in with the stun on Onwin. Onwin does not have a stun available. He's getting chunked out. Red buff taking a flash auto attack. Thermidor going to pick up the kill. Meanwhile, in this bot lane, Hibbs flashes out of Sasquatch, but 30 flashes as well. A lot of summoners blown in the bot lane, but no kills there.
Fights happening top and bottom, and that was very punishing out of bottom lane. Sasquatch is very low, and some damage could mean a kill for this bottom.
Yeah, and both teams know that the jungle is... Oh, actually, Thermidor wants to fight simply Zac, but Zac is just going to fight back. Thermidor's taking a lot of damage. Thermidor does not have a flash available. And now Onwin comes back from dying to get the revenge kill. What the hell was Thermidor thinking?
Honestly, I think he just thought that Hecarim was gone. Like, it looked like he wanted to circle around and just get Echo, just cheese Echo again right off the teleport. But they weren't ready for Hecarim to come charging back with that much health and damage.
Yeah, maybe by the time he saw Hecarim, he knew there was no way he was running there. One thing I want to comment on, I do not like... I wanted to see Hibbs and 30 play a little more aggressively there. They had full knowledge that both junglers were in the top side, and a huge health advantage on the Sasquatch.
And a missed
They didn't
hook.
really try to do anything.
Fantagio backs early, trying to get an item. Walking back to lane. Cruise Master is busy pushing to try and get it to tower, and he might back as well.
So, one thing I want to talk about that I didn't touch on earlier, that really sketches me out about the Blitzcrank pick. That is typically not a good pick into Sivir, because a Sivir worth her salt is going to be able to spell shield that hook very reliably, and that's going to make 30 essentially the only real hook target for Coffee. So
and then late game, who are you going to try and pull in? Because Echo and Hecarim are going to be on the front line, so how do you get past that? It's essentially going to be them trying to get picks or find someone that's just out of place and get kills. Otherwise, teamfights it's going to be really hard to pull off.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the first blood helps justify that pick a lot, but we'll see what they're able to do as this game goes on. And going back across the lanes here, that CS advantage in the top lane is starting to get pretty big for On the Wind. He's up currently 34-16. Puts him up about 350 gold, although there is a big wave crashing into Cuddles' tower.
I'm surprised with the early kill that they got, that he's that far behind in CS. I didn't see exactly what happened top lane. Hopefully he can pick up some of the CS to make it a little bit more even.
Yeah, he'll be able to pick up some of this, but he is still going to be multiple waves behind. That's 12 CS, that's 2 full waves, that's 7 minutes. That's pretty substantial. And that might just honestly come down to On the Wind being the savvy top laner. He's got a lot of pre-made top experience. He's a platinum player compared to Cuddles, who is gold 4. I mean, sometimes that's just how...
champ.
And he's playing his best champion.
Yeah, that's true.
And I also want to note that this is kind of a big revenge week for On the Wind. He was the latest victim to mad cow disease last week. And he really received a lot of flack for that, and I know he's the type of player to take that personally, so I expect he came into this game very prepared to play his best. But now we see a fight breaking out in the mid lane. Cruise Master gets there, and he gets lit up by Contagio. A last-second flash before Contagio could follow through.
That was a lucky flash. That Lux could have dropped another ability right then.
But 30 gets hooked in this bot lane, but he gets a knockup under a Sasquatch. And the ADK is disengaged.
A lot of excited yelling, not a lot actually happening in the end.
It's the curse of being a play-by-play man.
Yep.
Everyone's just fighting and going back to farming. No deaths, no trades. It looks like they're well aware of where the junglers are because they both showed bottom jungle area. So these bottom lanes, I'm surprised they're going for that tower or the ward because that could really turn into something quickly.
Yeah, now Thermidor maybe a little deep here. Simply Zach going forward. A lot of damage being put down onto Thermidor as Cruisemaster tries to put some damage on the flank, but a kill for Simply Zach, and Cruisemaster very low on the side here. He is running for his life, trying to dodge the skill shots, and he's going to do it for as long as possible, but he is not able to stutter step forever. Kill for Katasio.
And the fadeaway out of Katasio, because he knew he was going to get it, already started walking back to mid lane to farm. Looks like an early tower for this Danked by Mom team.
Could be a race though. There is it's not a huge no, what am I talking about? That's a big creep wave.
That you can race, but there's a definite winner here.
Yeah, this should be a tower trade though, as the Sasquatch and Coffee crash in the bot lane, and Jinx, obviously the fastest turret taker in the game.
With the CS leads and even this tower, we're actually starting to see a substantial gold lead out of Danked by Mom, even though the kills are pretty similar.
Yeah, it's 1,700 gold at 10 minutes. Not an ideal place to be for TD2.
We also just saw DBM deny the blue buff. Wayne went over and gets a sad look on his face right now.
Yeah, that's going to be rough. Swain's one of those champs that's really, really likes blue buff. And, Cuddles coming back to lane, going to get stunned by On the Wind. He doesn't look like he knows how to get out of this. He's going to actually flash the wall. But now Simply Zach ghosts?
I mean, I guess.
Gets a little trigger happy.
Yeah, that was not good, but doesn't cost him anything, doesn't follow through with it at least. And Ghost is, you know, a fairly short cooldown relative to other summoner spells. But a 2.5 minute CD for Simply Zach.
Right now we've got the Wind Dragon as the first dragon. Not highly contested out of really any team, but I would expect that Danked by Mom would want this. So they could have additional movement speed on that Hecarim, and then their engages, as long as they're out of combat, will be much, much faster.
Yeah, it's definitely going to help TD2 more than it's going to help DBM more than it's going to help TD2, but I don't think they're going to try to press for it too early in the game here. It's just not really a dragon worth risking things over, and that's why they've prioritized the other objectives so far. But 30 might be a little deep here, because here comes Thermidor. 30 flashes, but it's not far enough. A lot of damage goes down, and exhaust as well. 30 loses both of his summoners just for the Grand Skyfall.
That might not hurt too badly. As long as he doesn't get caught again, he should be in the backline healing his team. So that Grand Skyfall being out of the picture for a couple minutes for TD2.
But he also didn't have to ult, so he's going to have that peel available when he needs it.
Good point.
Yeah,
and even if he's getting jumped, I like that their team's doing a lot of actually trying to get down those deep wards. We saw one that lived for a while over behind the Wolf camp, and then we saw On the Wind try to place another one by the blue buff, even though it got cleared out right away. And that's where 30 got caught right there, is again trying to get those deep wards.
And it actually looks like both teams are warding pretty well. The deep wards like you're talking about are pretty nice. Keep eyes on Hecarim, as he can kind of come out of nowhere with that speed. And then Danked by Mom, moving their wards up slowly into that river for this, what looks to be the dragon.
Yeah, I actually like TD2's line of defensive pink wards with all the action that's going on with that Hecarim.
Yeah, but it looks like TD2 wants to give him a Cruisemaster, going to face check a little deep, and a kill for Katasio. And now the fight going forward. Simply Zach gets slowed down, but killed by Mr. Coffee. Now Sasquatch being chased by On the Wind. Meanwhile, Coffee doing what he can to disrupt on the flank, but Blitzcrank is not a flanker, as Rasash and Thermidor want to do something to slow this dragon down. It looks like Thermidor maybe dancing around like he wants to go in here with Sasquatch lining up. Cuddles does not have a TP available, and now the dragon resetting. This is being chased off by TD2, but the Lux puts down a ton of damage. Here comes the re-engage out of Danked by Mom. They get the kill onto Sasquatch for On the Wind, and they restart this dragon. They now have a smite available.
They postured really well for that dragon, knowing that they really couldn't do much with it until they got some damage down, and then TD2 really just went in and didn't have the vision, didn't have the awareness that Dank by Mom did.
Yeah, it was going so well until they got hit with a two-man snare, and that easily set up Hibbs to get the Boomerang Blade, and suddenly this Kite comp was able to go for super easy on the Hunt's re-engage and kind of grow their gold lead just a little bit more.
For a second, I thought we might be trading turrets, but On the Wind got to tower pretty quickly. Cuddles got pretty good damage on it before he decided to back. But we do have a lot of interesting items coming out of here. The Jinx, I'm not sure what she's planning on building first. Do you guys know what that is? Or not the Jinx, the Sivir.
Oh, the Sivir. The Sivir is going for
Reaver.
Essence Reaver.
Ah, gotcha. The new build path always screws me up.
The number of times I've bought a Blasting Wand to try and finish my Abyssal Scepter. Cry every time.
And then On the Wind, gonna get this tower.
Yeah, he's gonna finish the tower off, and we'll see how much damage he takes. He is currently a level up on Cuddles, so he doesn't look super scared of this fight, but he needs to be because Thermidor is in the neighborhood. But that tower tick is going to grow the gold lead to about 3,500 at 15 in favor of Danked by Mom, and they're just playing it all around really solid early game.
Oh, looks like they're going to try and get a surprise pull on the Sivir as she's farming the bottom lane, and she walks away very intelligently, not knowing where the bottom lane is.
And DBM kind of goes for a blue buff invade there. They force Thermidor to take the blue buff, so Cruise Master can be denied another one. And now Simply Zat ghosts again, which he's just going to use to immediately run away from this as he, this is a really awkward position there. Meanwhile, on the side here, Cruise Master going for an engage, and then a disengage. And that was just some really awkward champions meeting.
It's been really sloppy out of both of these teams. Neither side really knowing what to commit to and not.
Yeah, but fortunately for these teams, not going to cost either of them there.
It looks like red team, Danked by Mom, is ideally going to try and take that bottom tower next, as it's the only remaining tower, and then it's top side and mid for 2.
Yeah,
actually, with as much vision as they have down, I think they really should just make a play on that Rift Herald. Like, they have pinks all around it, they have deep wards to see if anyone's going to challenge them, and having that on Echo is going to make him even more unfightable with the Trundle than he already is.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've ever noticed, but SBL teams treat the Rift Herald like it's actually Baron Nashor in terms of being scared to take it.
And something that just happened is that Nami took out 2 pink wards, so they've got 4 pink wards on their side, and TD2 has none at this point. And they're just setting up vision to take this bottom tower.
They do still have the one behind blue, or red.
Oh, I think they just placed that. I think that was a refresh from a different one.
I don't know, they keep placing that one.
It's a good word to have.
Danked by Mom putting a lot of bodies into this opposing red side jungle. No, disengage. They disengaged.
Be a lot of that this game.
And more wards taken down. It's a ward fight.
Alright, so now we finally see the siege. Oh, and actually, though, they're going for the dive straight onto the Sasquatch, who has to flash defensively. Now, Thermidor getting late to this party, but maybe not too late, as a lot of damage gets put down between this tower and the team members. And now Cuddle shows up on the flank, a kill for Cruise Master, and now Cruise Master flashing forward, dropping the birds, dropping the dot, dropping 30. A 1-for-1 so far, and I think that's going to be it.
It looked like a great setup for a dive, but I think they forgot just how quickly blue team can turn around with the Pantheon ult.
Oh, Coffee goes for an awful flash hook, and it ends up with 2 members of TD2 getting killed there by the long-range snare.
That did not go the way they wanted to at all. That was rough.
Not even one SBL clown in Twitch chat yet. What's going on?
I guess
so. Contagio. I don't think Contagio's been. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm surprised that they didn't put more focus on the tower, or actually juggling that tower damage bottom lane. As that fight happened, everyone just went in and just kind of turned into solo queue mode, where they're like, "I want kills. Let's see how this is gonna work out." And it was all over the place out of both of these teams.
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised that Dank by Mom wanted to go for that dive so aggressively. I feel like they have a really good ability to siege with the Lux and the Sivir and the Nani. And it'd be really hard to engage on them while they're sieging.
And they have a pretty good poke team with the Lux and the Sivir and the Nami. Like Echo even throwing stuff out. They could have knocked the damage down on them with before taking tower to actually try and take it. Give themselves some time.
Fortunately for them, they don't lose any objectives for it. They do set back up in the spot lane. They also are ready to go for this dragon, Earth Dragon spawns here. And DBM pulling this out of the pit. Looks like they want to go for this. Cuddles is pretty far from this fight, but Dank by Mom, I do not think knows that. So they're kind of shutting down, but they let the dragon reset. And that's going to buy Cuddles a little more time to get close, but it doesn't look like there's going to be a contest coming out here. And secured by Dank by Mom, and now on the hunt pops, but nothing going to be done with it.
It looked like Quath was ready to fight, but wasn't sure what the team wanted to do. Now push down mid lane.
Yeah, kind of a split race going here. And it looks like DBM going to show up in time to defend this tower. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Hibs and 30 going to easily take their third and final tier 1.
On the wind, hiding top to make sure his tower doesn't actually fall. It will take quite a bit of damage, though, from all the minions here. That should be easy if TD2 decides to take it within the next couple minutes. We have seen teams just completely forget about the top lane until much later in the game, as the objectives bottom lane are the main focus.
Yeah, curious to see if TD2 is able to do that at any point. And one thing I'm really wondering, 21 minutes into this game, is how much the loss of Salvo is affecting their shot calling. I know this is going to be laughable to the longtime SBL vets. It's laughable to me, and he was on my team last season. But from what I've heard, Salvo's actually been a pretty substantial voice in the comms for TD2. And they've really had laps run around them by 30's team so far. Maybe that's just the 30 magic now that he's back in the support position, but they just look like they have a way better understanding of how to play this map than TD2. And that's netted them most of this lead.
Speaking of 20 minutes, if we take a look at gold and kills, the Lux is 303.
Oh man. Contagio blows up Razan's and he blows up Cruise Master.
So he wanted to correct me, now he's 404. Sivir's 202. I mean, those are the people you want that gold on, those kills, and they're just thousands of gold. Well, 1,500 for Sivir, and 2,700 for the Lux at this point. Like, they're going to be hurting in this mid game.
Yeah, one thing I want to talk about real quick before I cut off Blab for like the 100th time here. One thing I really like out of this DBM team is they're sitting on 3 blue trinkets and 2 red. And I really like the blue trinkets with the comp they have. But oh, in the meantime, Coffee, no, he's the tankiest member of that team. He's fine. But that tower is not fine. And neither is that other tower. The camera wasn't on. And now it's a 5-1 tower lead. And the Rocket gonna miss.
Just barely. 30, I don't know why he tanked 4 tower shots. Why he thought that was necessary. But he's helping his minions. They work hard for that gold, and he wants to keep them alive a little bit longer.
Yeah, and that turns into a 7,000 gold lead for Dank by Mom here at the 23-minute mark. And I hate to circle jerk this storyline, but it really does look like they put 30 back in the support position, and they're just a brand new team.
Yeah, he's been a part of a lot of their kills. 7 out of the 10, so the pretty high percentage there. And he seems to always be where the kills are. That last blow up that was for Contagio, taking Cruisemaster out, they were just there together as if they knew where to be and when to be there, and just caught him off guard.
Well, while I'm sure 30's shot calling is having some effect, I actually think a lot of it has to do with just how much better they're playing the vision game with 30 on support. And
Absolutely.
looking at champ select, like, who did they actually deny against their team? Like they picked away the Pantheon and the Trundle, but when the people on the other team just switch roles and like instead Wind gets Echo, who's his favorite champion anyways. You banned Vi against 30, who's not jungling. You didn't ban Lux, and now Tagio's playing that. And that's what it's doing every time.
This looks like kind of a tilt re-engage here. Thermidor going, he feels like he has to make a play, but he is not going to succeed in doing so. Now here comes the re-engage. The wave with the last second knockup. 3 kills for Dank by Mom, 4 kills for Dank by Mom, and no deaths.
That felt very forced out of this TD2 team.
Yeah, that looks like they had... That was kind of the, we're going to lose this game unless we make a play, which Mr. Coffee's going to try to do, but you're just a solo support, man. You cannot fight all 5 of them. As Ham's going all the way deep here, and Sasquatch is going to try to stop it now. Actually, nope. Nice stutter step. And that's going to be an inhibitor taken by Dank by Mom as they back out of the space.
They didn't lose anyone there, and we saw 3 down, almost 4 with Mr. Coffee going down.
Boop.
Oh, that Lux damage is insane.
And you see Sasquatch finally giving some respect to the Lux pick potential. He is sitting on a null magic mantle, which literally saved his life right there.
That was a really clean series of fights out of Dank by Mom. They knew who to peel off of and re-engage when they needed to.
Yeah,
now everyone seems to
absolutely.
be setting up for Baron, and Mr. Coffee sees, but doesn't find Simply Zach as he thought he would, and misses the pull.
But he still managed to get in the laugh emote.
He might have that triggered onto his pull mechanic. I've seen that happen before. It's extra tilt worthy from a Blitzcrank standpoint.
Definitely a possibility.
And Dank by Mom looks like they might be posturing for this dragon, as no one from TD2 is nearby to even really contest.
So, and that's a second Earth Dragon for Dank by Mom, which is going to really give them an explosive ability to close out this game. If they are just one step ahead of TD2 onto the Baron Nashor, it's going to go down in no time.
It looks like they're just going to slowly try and push down mid lane and bottom lane and take out these remaining towers to have a clean game.
Yeah, with the inhibitor down this early, the playbook's pretty wide open on how they want to close this match out.
I'm a little surprised with that down. I mean, the minions are here, but if they wanted to, they could make a push for Baron. But we've seen games won and lost.
Oh, but Contagio gonna get hooked. Maybe this is the chance that TD2 needed. But no kills so far. Now on the win for DB, he's going to ult out, and there's Contagio with his first kill, and the godlike. Is this fight going to maybe be stopped? And on the win, going back in, he's trying to put some damage on Sasquatch. Now Simply Zach comes, ghosted in, jumps over the wall, but a hail for him. And there we go, Contagio with the last range snare, but not going to secure a kill. Now an exhaust on the Cruisemaster, and him's going to turn. The crits are going to... No, a kill for Contagio on the Cruisemaster, as Simply Zach just working on the mid lane creeps. And we finally see all 5 members of Dank by Mom working on this inhibitor tower as Cuddles is zoned away from his base turrets.
Yeah, with 4 down. That might be game.
It's Pantheon and Coffee versus the world here. They have 8 seconds on Sasquatch as this first Nexus turret is going to be under attack by a lot of creeps. Coffee trying to do anything he can to slow this down, but you cannot slow down Contagio and company right now. Second turret going low. Terminal or Sasquatch too scared to make a play here. And GG.
Here's and the final defense. Nothing.
Coming off of last week's game 3, that's actually now 3 games in a row being the 3 fastest games of the season.
Wow. Yeah. We see a perfect game out of Quaff, and we see a perfect game out of Contagio. No deaths out of either of them. 1 death on 30. They played flawlessly.
Yeah, the really interesting thing to me there was Contagio had a fantastic game, but there was really no point in that game where I was looking at him and thinking, wow, this guy is just truly a Lux god. It just looked like he was playing a champion he was legitimately comfortable on for the first time. And he just could consistently make more plays than anyone that was up against him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
it turns into
agree.
8-0-8. That's 16 of 19 kill participation, just always around the action. But he was in the right position with that champ at basically all times.
And this Dank by Mom team had 3 people doing the highest damage out of the entire game, and Contagio doubling the highest on Dank by UTAC.
User joined your channel.
All right, so we're gonna. I don't want to do this, but I have to. We're gonna pull 30 in here for an interview.
Hey.
30.
He just jump in himself? Yeah.
I messaged him.
He messaged him.
I
Okay.
told, yeah.
I'm not
30,
that cocky.
Okay. Do you trust my judgment as a person, like as a League of Legends player?
Yeah.
Okay, stop fooling around with the stuff that's not support.
So you think that was why? That's because
I don't know, 30. I'm interviewing you. You're not. That's not how this works. Do you think that's why?
No, that actually wasn't the reason why of our lineup switch. We brought up some concerns about availability and like practice with Kai Nelson, so we thought it'd be best to try out this lineup going into playoffs.
So is this going to be something you guys think you might stick with, or are you going to practice more and see how it feels with Keinhosen being available next week?
No, I think the idea is to continue with this one.
Yeah, you guys performed really well. The 3 of you, Tagio, Quath, and yourself, only having 1 death amongst you, pretty good.
Thanks.
So one thing I have a question about is you guys had superb ward placement pretty much that entire game. Were you yelling at the team to buy wards and just place them, or have you guys figured out when everyone needs to buy them, where they need to go, what you guys are setting up for in order to get that ward line out there to make plays?
There wasn't too much communication on that. I think Kyle hinted at more pinks, and then Zach actually called me out on Warzone Baron, which is pretty funny. But yeah, no.
Did you start to bench him?
What?
Did you start to bench him?
Oh man, there's that threat's been out. The last night practice was definitely some practice games. But no, warding comes pretty naturally, I think. It really helps me and Hibbs because we're both very support oriented, and we both play bot lane a lot, so I feel like our whole bot side of the map's gonna be lit up no matter what we do. At one point in the game, there were 10 wards in river plus both scuttle crabs taken. 3 or 4 of which were your guys' pinks. Yeah, actually, all of us bought a fuck ton of pinks. I bought 7, Zach bought 7. It was a lot. Everyone bought at least 1. So moving to another question, I actually want to talk about champ select because I think you guys just straight up won. You have everyone on your favorite picks, and all 3 bans the enemy team used went to champions for players who didn't even play that role anyways. Yeah, they messed up the Lux and Echo coming through. We had all of our pregame was we knew for a fact it was gonna be Lux, Echo, Morgana, and we had a whole different team comp planned for this. But when the power picks were open, we're like, is this happening? When we first rotation Lux and Sivir, I think that it might have been over right there. Yeah,
and this was actually a pretty quick win for you guys, 28 minutes. Blab had said earlier it was one of the faster wins for this season. Was the game feeling like it was going really quickly as everything was going on?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, our practice last night, it was really bad. I mean, it went poorly. We lost a lot of games, but over the night, I feel like we had a better sense of urgency, and not only that, but we were also playing against a Jinx, so it was almost a time trial in itself. We couldn't let Sasquatch get into that carry zone as Jinx. So I think we all were like really hyped up for this game. We really wanted to win this week, and I think we all just pushed ourselves to play really fast and hard.
Yeah, you guys definitely deserve the win for this one. Everyone really showed up, did their part.
I would agree.
All right, so next week you're going to play the 4-0 Fizz on your Jace. The already secured the first seed and potentially not playing a real composition Fizz on your Jace. How do you feel about your chances to kind of go from 1 and 2 to a second or third seed?
I mean, it feels good. Yeah. I honestly, for me, and I think my teammates share the same sentiment. We're looking at this season because just the way it's structured, it's only 5 games, and the fact that everyone's guaranteed a playoff spot. These are the games that we're really just trying to find our identity and in sort of developing a strong roster of champions and getting synergy made. Because if we're going forward with this lineup, we have to practice a lot and get into top form for playoffs. So either way, it doesn't matter what seed for me. But I am looking forward to playing against Splinter's team. I think we'll give them a good run for their money. But if they play something cheesy, that's cool too.
All right, well, I think that settles it. Unless you guys had something you wanted to ask.
Nope, I didn't have any more questions.
No, not unless 30 wants to like stick his foot in his mouth and yell for the stream to cut.
No. Zach's a big memer, and I can't meme, so just dank memes, I guess.
All right, dank memes, my friends. We'll see you soon for Game 3.